Gemini, be at peace with your choices this December. Let's have an aligned astro chat about it. Cello all, Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to your Transformational Tarot for December. Can you believe that we have actually finally made it to the end of 2025? It has simultaneously been a year that has flown by and a year that has been unbelievably exhausting, and one that I hope I never have to revisit again. And on that note, I love that your message was be at peace with your choices. So today we are going to be pulling an overarching theme from the Sweet Ass Affirmations 2 from Rage Create. And then True Black Tarot came up for me to pull for you guys this month. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay. So I like this idea of be at peace with your choices because I feel like December, as we all know, you don't need to be psychic to know that it's a month where we are doing a lot of reflection. We're doing a lot of preparation for things to come for the next year, that type of thing. And, you know, when we are reflecting and looking back on our lives and looking back on our choices, there can be a tendency to beat yourself up, right? Or to say, oh, I wish I had done this differently or that differently. And I feel like you're where you're supposed to be. Everything happened in the exact way and pace that it was supposed to happen so that you could be exactly where you're at right now. So let's see what the overarching theme is. I react. I react with peace and ease, no matter how stinky the cheese. Mic drop, right? You can't make this shit up. Wow. Be at peace with your choices. No matter how stinky the cheese is, own your choices and understand that it has brought you to where you're at right now. Harness your chi, be in meditation mode. I'm so sorry. It always makes me laugh when these things happen. Like I couldn't pick it out better if I tried, right? Be in a more reflective and meditative space this month. I do feel that there's going to be some momentum and movement forward. We'll see what the cards have to say. But I feel like even with the momentum and the movement forward, there needs to be meditation before, during, and after the movement. And that just feels, I don't know, that just feels necessary. And the word I'm hearing is enriching. All right, let's dive into the reading here. So presently, where are you right now in your transformational journey? What part of you is shifting, rising, or dissolving? Oh, interesting. So you have one of the extra cards here, and this is Anant. And what I'm seeing here right now is it's like the gestation period. It's the womb. I like to call this the phoenix growing phase. The phoenix growing phase is, you know, I just came out of the phoenix burning. I'm not who I was, but I really have no vision of where I'm going or who I am right now. I'm kind of in the messy middle, and this is a time for me to reflect, as I was saying before, and to receive. This is a time for you to learn how to just be. And I feel like because it's a general reading for you, Geminis, I'm feeling very much that a lot of you are just kind of going through the motions. You're frustrated that things aren't moving. It's like you're on the hamster wheel and you feel always like you're running on the spot or running in place. Some of you, I feel you don't necessarily feel stuck, but you don't necessarily feel like you're gaining a ton of ground towards your choices. I'm seeing right now that when we're talking about your transformational journey, I feel like this is teaching you how to be, and it's giving you opportunity to rest up and recharge, because I feel like after December, there's going to be something that hits. I'm hearing January 14th in particular for you guys. So now we're going a little bit out. There's going to be some movement in your charts. There's going to be something that comes up that either gives you the big aha moment you've been waiting for, or there's a huge opportunity that you now need your time, your energy, your space, your movement to step in and say, yeah, okay, this is how things are going to be, and I'm ready to step into this. I'm ready to say yes to this. The gestation also, I feel like you don't want to think of this in terms of, I hate feeling vulnerable. You want to think of this in terms of the snake is protecting you. This is the Ouroboros. So it's the soul, it's the infinite, it's the, the snake eats its own tail because it's always reinventing itself. It's always in that cycle of, what's the word I'm looking for? Incarnation. We're constantly reinventing ourselves. We're constantly reincarnating, even within this actual carnation itself. That's what the Phoenix journey is all about. The birth, death, and rebirth cycle. It's never ending. I feel like you want to come to peace with the fact that, yeah, you might be revisiting certain experiences. I'm not talking patterns and cycles that need to be broken here. I'm speaking more to the right now at present. You might be feeling like you're running on the hamster wheel or there's no movement forward. But I feel like what is transpiring right now is it's an evolution within that cycle, and there's a timing factor that is coming up here for you. You're about to move through that. You're about to get, like I said, breaking forth and moving forward into something else. But you need to understand your place in all of it. And that is what is transpiring here. So I do feel that right now you are dissolving the old, dissolving the past. I feel that you are recharging and you will be shifting. But right now, sitting and allowing things to be, allowing things to unfold organically, doing the reflection is what is required now. The rest will fall into place. Make no mistake about that. You know how that works in life. Life happens while you're busy making plans. So, trust in that. That's always going to happen for you. So right now, just give yourself permission to be at peace and ease with whatever is in the flow in your now. This is your catalyst. What's fueling or hindering this transformation for you? And is it resistance or rocket fuel? Interesting. The Three of Swords. So I feel like there's been a lot of betrayal that has been coming up for you. Maybe reflections of past betrayals that have been coming up. Revisiting. And this feels like some subconscious stuff that's been coming up. Revisiting certain conversations that you've had that maybe led to endings, led to different beginnings, led to outcomes that you weren't necessarily expecting. The Three of Swords also I like to see is a card of self-care. Recognizing it's time for me to heal from the wounds of other people's words, the tragedy of heartbreak. Now, we often think heartbreak in terms of relationship, love, romantic relationship, but this can be, friendship breakups. This can be estrangement with family members. This can be heartbreak at the loss of a job, being betrayed at a job. So however it's coming up for you, I don't feel that this is a betrayal that is to come. I feel that this is a betrayal that has already occurred, whether it's in the distant past or just in the most recent past. I feel like this is what is causing you to kind of be in sort of the cosmic womb of things and being more reflective and looking at like recharging your batteries, receiving love, receiving care, receiving inspiration and influence from your angels and guides to show you what is next, how you're forming yourself so that you can move forward into the next. And I feel like this is not going to give you the specific vision of where you're going. This is going to give you foundation. If we think about, like a cut on the wound, if you keep pressing on the wound, it's going to hurt. You're going to be like, ow, like stop pressing on the wound. Well, now it's completely healed. Well, I can press on this as much as I freaking want. It doesn't affect anything, right? Because it's solid now. It's been melded back together again. The meted or whatever. I think it's called meted, where it's sewn and woven together and it's stronger, right? As a result. This is the phase that you're in right now. And so I feel like this is going to be your rocket fuel. You're not necessarily resisting this, although there may be some of that. But I feel like you're recognizing, and taking the approach of the observer here makes it all the more the word that's coming to my mind is profitable, but I feel like it's more efficient, right? It gets you to where you need to go quicker, more efficiently. Threes also are about creation, and sometimes we have to heal before we can actually create. And I feel like that's why this is rocket fuel. So don't see it as a hindrance. Don't see it as something that's stopping you. See it more as it's the fertilizer. No, it's not the fertilizer. It's the cement. It's liquid cement right now, and you're going to end up, sort of pouring it out to create your, solid foundation. But once it's there, it is solid and it's going to work for you. Deep root. What deep belief, wound, or soul contract is driving your transformation under the surface? Beautiful. So you are ready for something new. It is time for you to, I want to say, throw a little caution to the wind, bring out that curious aspect of you, Gemini, and look for experiences that are going to expand your horizons. Look for those experiences that are, I want to say, going to allow you to make dishes and laundry more spiritual. What do I mean by that? I mean, it's no longer feasible for us, especially starseeds and light workers, to go and do your spiritual stuff, on a Saturday afternoon for a few hours, and that, fills your love cup for 3 months. No, it doesn't work that way. This is seeking out ways to incorporate the spiritual you, which quite frankly is your essence. It's who you are, and bringing that more to the surface into the dishes and laundry of life, the day to day, the mundane things. And I love that we started off with the womb, and now this fool is being represented by a baby. So I feel like if we talk about the deep root, you're ready to be born. You're ready for this new adventure. But there's also a part of you, I feel, that is like waiting for the next step or the next sign, or for the universe to kind of show you what's next. And this is one of those things where I feel like it's going to show itself when you take the first step. When you take a step in any direction, the universe will, either course correct you, or, show you the next step, or prepare whatever it is that is required for you. But the wounding part of it here is that you don't always trust your choices. And I'm going to say more is lost through indecision than wrong decision here. You want to approach this from the mind of a babe, right? Like innocent. You can be somewhat cautious, but don't let the caution stop you from moving forward. A baby learns through experience. A baby takes its, first steps and stumbles and falls, but then gets up and does it again until they figure it out, right? I feel like this, in essence, is what's coming up for you. It's like the adventure is here for you. Step into your curiosity, but shed the concept or the idea or the limiting belief that you can't trust your intuition, or you can't trust your choices. You can't trust yourself to make a decision that's going to get you where it is that you need to be. That is something that you're really getting ready to release here. But there is, I want to say, there needs to be, it's got to be an intentional choice for you, is how I want to put that. This is not something that's just going to pop out of nowhere. This is something that you're having to say, okay, angels and guides, show me what I need to see. Show me what I need to understand about this. Show me an example, a walking, living, breathing example of where I'm holding myself back because of this particular fear. And they will be happy, more than happy, to provide that information. And from there, when we see it, we can't unsee it. When we suddenly know it, now we can do something about it. I feel like that's a big part of what's going on for you with the deep root. What's dying away for you right now? What role pattern or identity has run its course? Ooh, yes. Always being in motion, always having to live out of the left brain, always needing to be the boss, be in charge, drive the bus. The emperor, it's very interesting. He's holding the tower here in one hand, and the tower looks like it's already kind of like it's on the verge of breaking. It hasn't broken yet, but it's on the verge of breaking. And then he's got a scroll in the other hand. And he happens to be kind of in this white shroud. Actually, to me, he looks a little bit like my Christian upbringing, the image that they used to have in my mother's church of Master J, of Jesus. The emperor, when out of balance, when in its lower vibrational form, can be cruel, can be vindictive, can be dictatorial in a lot of ways. I'm not suggesting that you are dictatorial. I'm suggesting that maybe the ways that you've been holding yourself accountable have been a little harsh. Maybe you've been holding others accountable, or holding others to an expectation that is not with some flexibility or compassion or understanding. The emperor can have compassion, but the emperor tends to be very detached. It's all about birthright. It's all about the divine masculine. Moving forward, may listen to, their advisors, but at the end of the day, what they say goes, and there's no real, there's no democracy to it, right? It just is what it is. So it's interesting to me that I'm really drawn to the tower that has not yet fallen, and he's holding it in one hand. So he's aware of it, and it's almost like he's taunting you with it. I could drop this at any time, So I feel almost like what's dying away for you guys is this being held hostage or being held captive by your fears or someone else's motives or motivations by the waiting for the other shoe to drop. And instead, I want to say what is sort of moving into its place is I'm feeling very much more of the divine feminine, making room in your life for a different approach. And so this feels really good. Like, again, I don't want to say that the emperor is like a bad card and, dun, dun, dun. I'm saying when in its lower forms, this is what this is what you can run into is it's not balanced, and therefore it is, showing up in all sorts of different ways. You're coming back a little more into balance. You're creating more space and room for the divine feminine to provide more of that balance. And you're recognizing, okay, yeah, the other shoe might fall. The tower may come crashing down, but now I know that that's a possibility, and so I can plan for it. Highest potential. This is your highest Phoenix potential. What can rise from the ashes of this? What is your soul calling you toward? This is your breakthrough energy. Here we have 6 of Pentacles. This is really interesting. So I feel like you are coming out of a period of time where you've been in many ways going through the motions, doing what is kind of on the nose appears to be the necessary thing, but there hasn't been a ton of like foresight or being able to forecast or even to foreshadow. It's okay. Like I use this in another reading, like triage, like you're just in triage mode. Okay, what's showing up for me right now? All right, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to address it. Da, 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 da. Okay, that's solved. Next, what's the next thing to come in? There's a bit of that crisis, not momentum, crisis management that's happening. I'm feeling here that the potential for you coming out of all of this that is shifting and changing is a clear investment, a clear direction on what you're going to be reinvesting or investing your time and your energy to. This card is often a card of generosity. It can also be a card of greed. I'm feeling here that it's more tied to the generosity of things, the fact that you now have a clear path. Like we're seeing this pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but also it makes me think of like an arrow, and an arrow that is shooting into the center. These are These are pentacles, coins, and it's coins in this deck. It's aiming for the middle coin here, but it hasn't hit the middle of the coin either, which kind of says to me there's still a lot of room to move and grow, but you're on target. You're in the right area. You're heading in the right direction. And if the pen is mightier than the sword, Geminis, this is perfect for you because you are excellent communicators, and that is one of your superpowers. And you haven't felt for a while that what you've been communicating has been all that effective, or that it has been received in the way that you intended it. That it's out there, but it's not actually moving the needle. This now is giving you clear direction, and I want to say inspiration in terms of the vision that you have when you're expressing it and you're putting it into action. Something is happening. And even if you're not like dead center on the mark, you're still within the ballpark, and everything will be adjusted accordingly. But it's like finally now you're going to be able to kind of be in the ballpark. Whereas recently, I feel like you've just been, again, in triage mode, crisis management mode, just kind of going through the motions to get through until you see what's next, what's on the other side. Again, a lot of that womb energy. Being in the womb, you're supposed to be learning how to be, right? How to receive. And that's not always an easy thing for us to do. But I feel like this is where you're at. And this is that highest potential and possibility. This is a very some readers kind of like I'm a psychic who uses tarot as a tool, but some tarot readers see this as a negative card. It's greed, and it's strings attached to things and all the rest of it. Yeah, that all can be true, but that's not what I'm feeling for you guys here. I feel like this is like a beacon of light. It's the lighthouse in the storm, and you see that light coming through, and you're like, oh, okay, that's the direction. So that's very exciting. What's emerging just around the corner for you? What energy or experience is coming in to support the next phase? Ooh, here we have the Ace of Pentacles. So look, actually, is it Ace of Pentacles or is it Ace of Wands? Oh, now I'm second guessing myself. No, I'm going to say it's an Ace of Pentacles. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm going to go just intuitively. So Ace of Pentacles here, I'm feeling like when we're talking about that emergence, we are talking about something new that's coming into the mix, the vision. Suddenly now you're seeing where you need to go. The lion, I want to say Leo the lion, which is making me think maybe it's Wands, but Leo the lion, there's action, there's movement forward. Remember I said, peace and ease, and meditate before, during, and after momentum and movement, because I feel like that's what this is about. This is typically planting a seed. I feel more like when I'm seeing the pickaxe and the axe here, you are actually you're past planting the seed. I feel almost like this is harvesting a seed that has been planted, and you needed to like plant this thing before you could then plant the thing. So it was like it's the prequel, before the main event. And I'm seeing here that there, especially with all of the gold energy in this mountain, which could also be a crystal formation, there's going to be a lot of energy that comes out of this. And I mentioned before about like building a different foundation. I think I said something about cement with you guys. Same kind of thing here. Like, this is what is happening for you, is more solid ground. You have not had solid ground for a while. And so therefore that is kind of thrown a lot of your trust factor into yourself into question, not really knowing which direction to take, what's going to be the best thing for me. This, I feel, is bringing a lot of self-confidence to you. And it's also, like I said, I keep seeing January 14th, for whatever reason, being significant for you guys, that there's going to be this aha moment or opportunity. And if you don't have the confidence now, if you don't have the foundation solidified here in December, you're not necessarily going to say yes to the opportunity. You might pass it by. And, you know, the universe is like, hey, like, you do you. Like, there's no right or wrong here. But I'm really feeling that you would be doing yourself a disservice, and you might have some remorse or regret if you felt like, you know, I'm saying no to this out of fear, not really out of like, it's the adventure. I'm curious about it. I'm excited about what this opportunity can bring. I might not feel completely ready, but I'm still open to taking the journey. I feel like that's what this is bringing to you. So the seed was planted, and a seedling has sprouted, and now you're having to repot or replant that into the bigger garden, so that now we're ready to go. You know, now we're cooking with gas. All right. So you, in this process, your role, how are you navigating this transformation? Are you resisting, flowing, grieving, or boldly rising? Queen, interesting. So this is the Queen of Cups. I feel like what's transpiring for you, sorry, I'm spitting all over the cards today. It just means it's an extra juicy reading. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I digress. I feel like you, in this process, there's an aspect of you that is a little bit nervous about how you're really feeling about things. It's almost like you don't want to give yourself permission to acknowledge that you might be a little nervous, you might be a little scared, you might be feeling a bit out of your depth. On the flip side, you might also be having a bunch of judgments, and you're feeling guilty about judging people, places, and things around you as a result of where this is at. You know, it's interesting. I really feel like in this position, you're resisting a little bit by not acknowledging how you're feeling about something and just putting it out there. Whether it's putting it out there and saying it out loud to yourself, to your dog or your cat, to your journal, or, you know, saying it to a trusted friend or to a therapist or a priest that can't divulge it, you know, confidential, or whether you're addressing it with the specific person or the issue at hand, or the circumstance at hand. I feel like until you acknowledge it and you put it out there and allow it to just, you know, allow the chips to fall where they may, you're going to be in resistance mode. But in order to get, I want to say, into flow mode, because that's what you're going to need. You're going to need flow for what is transpiring. It's an acknowledgement of those feelings. And you know what? Like, I really work hard to be a very non-judgmental person. I believe in that. I believe that everyone has the right to their choices and to do the things that they need to do. And not everybody thinks like me, and not everybody is like me. Thank God, because what a weird world we would be in. It'd be colorful, but it would definitely be weird, right? But I will admit to you that there are times, because like I'm human just like the rest of us, or in a human body having a human experience just like the rest of us, where there are times when I catch myself having a judgmental thought and then I'm beating myself up over it. It's not about the beating yourself up, and it's not about the fact that you had the thought. It's about acknowledging that you had a thought and then saying, well, that's not actually my highest and best version of self, or that's not actually how I really feel. That's not actually what I really think. That must be coming from, you know, a triggered space or an activated space or a space of fear. What am I really afraid of? And I feel like this is you right now in this process. If you want to not resist and get more into flow, it's an acknowledgement of what you're feeling and thinking without judging yourself. And if you are judging another person, acknowledge that judgment and then make a different choice. Change your thinking, rewrite the story, rewrite the narrative. You know, you can ask for forgiveness in your mind from this person. If it's something where you actually have to have the conversation, you can do that as well. But it's looking it dead in the eyes and just kind of holding space for that. I feel like that's really what is required right now for you in December. Circles of support. Who or what is influencing your transformation right now? And is it a positive or a negative influence? Oh, interesting. The Chariot. So I feel like there's a lot of fast moving stuff. There are a lot of people, places, and things around you that want to go where you're going or are willing to take a little time out to do the day trip. It's kind of like letting your best friend know that you've got a day trip, you've got to drive to a different city because there's a special doctor or a particular store, that's an hour away or 2 hours away, and you happen to mention it, and your bestie says, "Oh, well, why don't we make a day trip of it? Like, I'll go with you. I'll keep you company. I know you don't like to drive. And so, I'll drive, or I'll keep you company or whatever. And we can do that together." It's a temporary collaboration or a temporary contract, but it makes the time go faster. It makes the chore much more pleasant and more fun. It gets you from island A to island B with a little more enjoyment than if you're just doing it on your own. And so I feel like this is what's going to be coming up for you this month is any of these, time to replant, having to, address some of these issues. I feel like there are people that are going to be kind of coming out of the woodwork to sort of provide either a stopgap or a friendly face, a pleasant conversation to just sort of, I want to say, lighten the mood, brighten your day, keep you in that space of peace and ease as you're moving forward. So I want to say this is a very positive experience. You're going to experience that this month in a number of different ways, through friends, through perfect strangers, through respites at work, maybe unexpected partnerships or pairings that really work, that really click, and they meet the moment is what I'm hearing. So I love that. Again, these are going to be shorter bursts. These are shorter contracts, kind of a day or a week type thing. It's not going to be the forever thing, but it's going to be exactly what you need in that moment. And it's going to make things, I want to say, just more pleasant in general to go through an experience. All right. So hopes and fears. What are you dreaming of becoming, and what scares you about actually doing it? Well, we've already kind of talked about that. The real root of it, the subconscious root of it for you is that you feel like you can't fully trust yourself. But I feel like, oh yeah, so this is coins again, I'm going to say. No, this is wands. This is direction. So I feel like if we're talking about that hopes and fears, this actually ties in beautifully. I'm afraid to make a choice because I don't know if I'm going to make the right choice. Two of Wands always comes through because it represents a new direction, a new path. You've got the whole world at your fingertips. Where do you want to go first? Well, oh my God, there are so many different choices. I'm afraid to make the wrong one. What if I choose, to go to Africa and I would have had better time, a better time in Europe or in Australia, that kind of energy. And I feel like this card is coming up to say to you, you can have it all. It's just not all going to happen in this split second. So choose the direction that's going to provide you with the most expansion from a mental perspective, but also expansion that you feel motivated to do, that you feel that you've got the energy for, and move in that direction. I feel like those are the two caveats, like expansion and level of energy. It's interesting. Normally I'm going to say, what brings you the most joy? I'm not seeing that as being part of the factor of it. I feel like that's already kind of inherent in the choice. This feels like, okay, how is it going to expand me, or how much potential for expansion is there? Because I want to go with something that is going to give me the most potential for expansion. And I want to also make sure that, okay, if I'm going to do that, this is the level of energy that I'm going to require to make that happen. And therefore, then I know how much to invest and where to invest my time, my energy, and my focus. And that helps to bring a little more of the feeling space into balance, because then I'm not afraid. I'm not needing to be calculated. I am allowing the joy to flow through the choice itself. Very interesting. I almost want to say that the real fear in all of that is just kind of like choosing you and saying whatever my choices are, whether they're judged or deemed as good, bad, or indifferent, they're mine. And maybe that's the whole point of the experiment. Maybe that's the whole point of December for you, is to get to that place where you're like, it's not about the outcome. It's about making the choice and being okay with that choice that I've made. All right, here is the outcome. Who will you be on the other side of this journey in December if you stay the course? What is the result of embracing the full Phoenix cycle? Justice. Balance. Coming into balance. So this is a Libra card, but Gemini's, it's Aries. It's not Aries, it's an air sign. So very much your energy, your element. And I feel like in many ways, this is what you have been kind of seeking. You've been seeking vision. You've been seeking a little more life in your choices, not having to live by rote, feeling kind of excited about something to look forward to, but also feeling like there's a little more balance in your life. And I feel like that's what Justice is bringing. Also, when we're talking about this as being the outcome for this month, truth is the thing that is, I want to say, standing out to me. And I want to say it's really connecting deeply with your truth. And perhaps that's what has been not missing, but what you have felt maybe a bit disconnected to over the last couple of months, because you have been living by rote, being in triage mode or in, crisis management mode, focusing on, okay, deal with this. Okay, next. Okay, deal with this. Okay, next. There hasn't been a lot of emotional connection to what you've been doing. And now that emotional connection is able to come into the mix, because now you're seeing very clearly what your truth is, why you've gone through what you've gone through, why you're here now, and what this now is going to do for you as you are moving forward. I also love that it's like a constellation kind of energy here. And forgive me, I don't know what constellation this is depicting. But I do feel like there is a component of maybe your astrology, or just your desire to walk among the stars, work among the stars, connect with the stars, get more connected to your sacred space, your spiritual space. That's what this feels like. It's going to reveal that. There's going to be enlightenment around that. And that, I feel, is what gives you the motivation. This is all setting the tone for this new year to come. Wow. Okay. So Gemini, that is your transformational tarot reading for December. I am wishing you a very happy holiday if it applies, and in whatever way it applies. Wishing you a very happy new year. Excited to be taking this journey with you into 2026. It is my year in preview season. If you want to get a sneak peek of what is to come for you personally in 2026, it's my most popular limited series, like limited time session that I do. I pull a card for every month of the year. It's an hour-long session. You get so much information. I will put the link in the description below if it's something you want to book. It books up fast. So if it is something you're thinking of doing, I encourage you to get yourself on the books. I only do it between December 1st and January 31st. Otherwise, sending you guys so much love and so much support. We will see you on the flip side, and transform well.